Hey everybody, welcome to Insufferable Bastards. My name is Carlos Danger for the purposes of this broadcast, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Brian Spears. Hello, Brian.
Hello, hello.
Making a return appearance to the podcast. You know him. You love him. You can follow him on Twitter at Obnoxious Jon. It is Obnoxious Jon.
Good evening.
Welcome back to the program. I just have one request before we start. If you could not get us in trouble with YouTube this week, I would appreciate it.
I'll try my best.
I don't know what was going on last week, but we did a video. We just talked about the great Casey Armstrong. Hello, Gina Bobina. Welcome to the stream. And YouTube pulled it. And at first, it was the same time, like that same next morning, they had pulled Casey Armstrong's entire page. So at first I thought, there was rumors going around the Dabbleverse that maybe the great one was involved, but ours was just a straight up copyright claim by Rotten Tomatoes movie clips. We had used their movie or a little clip from the film Cop Shop, even though it was clearly fair use. There's no profit motive here. We transformed the content. It was for criticism, yet they upheld it, and I felt I'm not going to fight it because then I could risk a copyright strike. So fuck you, Rotten Tomatoes.
I would have fought that one, but that's just me. And you know what? That kind of stinks because I'm looking forward to seeing that movie. That clip was the first time I had heard of the movie. I never would have probably even heard of it if you had not played it on the show.
Yeah, definitely check out Cop Shop, written directed by Joe Carnahan, a great sort of B-movie director who I was going to add him at Twitter, see if we could get Joe Carnahan to rally around us, but his account is suspended. So that's that. Gina Bobina, is this live, Carlos Bobarlos? No, this is not live, Gina. Hello, Jared. Welcome to the stream. Hello, DD Mr. 88. Welcome to the stream. So tonight we're going to talk about Steve Langford. Sure, everyone remembers Steve Langford, the Howard 100 news reporter from back in the day.
Langford has a huge penis. Sorry. I wanted to get that out at one point, so there it is.
Absolutely. And then the other classic, and this might be too loud.
Who gives a shit? Who gives a fuck?
The famous Steve Langford drop. But I came across a video with him where, we meant to play this weeks ago. It's only an 8-minute video, but where he gets angry at Howard Stern over, and the setup is Steve Langford approached George Takei to do some type of, it sounded like a school work project for his daughter, Steve Langford's daughter. And Howard got sort of all bent out of shape and called Steve Langford out for it, saying, please don't bother the guests, which was sort of a recurring theme on the Stern show. And I think made for some classic bits. Right, Brian? Like he would do that with Jackie a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Because Jackie would get autographs. He would want to get his joke signed and all that great stuff.
Yes. And well, no, he was getting his joke signed and Grillo was helping him. They caught Grillo approaching guests to have autographs signed. And it was Jackie having jokes or one-liners that he used about those, whoever was there. Like I think they mentioned Tim Allen. Like, so, he would go over and not get one, not just one, he would get two of them signed. Always two signed.
That's awesome. Just running through the chat real fast. Citizen M, welcome to the stream, Citizen M. I love Citizen M. It was Citizen M's question that got us bashed by Dabblers Anonymous. So I'm going to blame you, Citizen M. The Dabblers don't like us. Dabblers Anonymous they don't like us talking about Pissgate. And Citizen M is saying, if this episode isn't entirely dedicated to Pissgate, I will be reporting your channel to the FTC. Citizen M, I don't know where you get the idea that we're even going to broach Pissgate in this episode. You might have seen my Cardiff Electric took over my Twitter account at one point and was clicking was posting some clickbait type tweets. But before we do all that, before we get into Steve Langford, and again, I don't think this is going to be a terribly long Insufferable Bastards. You're welcome. I wanted to play a video that's been making the rounds this week that has to do with DabbleCon. I'm sure Obnoxious Jon has seen it. Brian, have you seen the video that Tony Muskrat made? Tony Muskrat made the song and lyrics, parody song, and B Dabbler / El Harible.
I did see it.
Oh, damn, Brian, you've really going from an AOL email. You're now both feet into the Dabbleverse, huh? Even though it's pretty much dead.
Exactly. I I did check that out. I have the shows I go to.
And
I
El
did check that
Horrible
out.
is one of them.
Yes.
All right, so I assume you guys can see this.
Yes.
Let's go.
We seen the lights go out on Carlson. We saw Cardiff take his throne. Zumach said it'd be a
That
failure.
BabbleCon this weekend in Rochester,
He blocked Bob Levy
which is going to be a fucking flop.
and then got drunk alone. We held a tribute to the Dabbler.
Hold on one second. I'm going to interrupt. I have to introduce a very special guest. I am very excited that this person would even show up. Ladies and gentlemen, Cardiff Electric.
Oh, hello. How are you?
Welcome to the stream, Cardiff. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. I'm good. Hello, Brian Spears. How are you?
Hello.
Well, thank you for all your hard work.
Oh, thank you for letting me be involved.
I appreciate it. And hello, Obnoxious John, the man who has gotten more milk out of pee than anyone else ever. Getting on all the shows, talking about Peagate, huh?
That was the top stream, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Speaking of that, we do have a couple. We have one from Citizen M. He says, it's okay. My friend takes my phone and sends dick pics. Okay. Citizen M. Take it easy. Gina Bobina is asking, is Cardiff live? No. Exactly. So Cardiff, we were just playing, I don't know if I assume you saw it, the wonderful video that Tony Muskrat and I don't know if I can say the name without you.
Let's just say it's a great song.
Will you avert your eyes if I play it? Is this okay? Do I have your permission?
This part's good.
Well, I was going to, I'll have to rewind it a second.
This part's good.
How do I go to this? Let me
Most
rewind
of it's shit, though.
Most of it is just shit. Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's try to hold back our tears.
We held a tribute to the Dabbler. We put our pinkies up to Scully. The temp was 5 below. We drove through fucking snow. And we went right on with the show.
Welcome to DabbleCon! AKA Stunner Slam, AKA Roachella, AKA Sunshine.
Salby Dabbler with his tits out. It was adorable indeed.
Oh my God, are my big fat titties tired?
Comics all were brutally making fun of that Waldo guy.
Oh, he's good.
We didn't care at all. John was tweeting Lauren Boebert,
That's right, the balloon.
while all the dabblers had a ball. We came from near and far. We hung out at the bar.
Yes, we did.
Skinny Chad became a star.
Fucking idiot! Chad, you're a fucking idiot!
I'm gonna be an idiot. I'm gonna be the biggest, most obnoxious idiot you never know.
Okay, I'm gonna start out right now and say Chad's a fucking idiot!
You know those lights were bright on Carlson. No comment about the door.
The doors were smashed and the ATM was stolen.
Dr. Steve was bombing photos.
My mom let me come to
It
DabbleCon!
was star-studded.
Dr. Steve, help.
And OJ's clothes were soaked.
Yeah.
Had a beer with Anthony Cumia. He was fucking awesome as you would expect. Potatoes were getting kissed. Kevin Dumbfuck took a piss.
Woo.
We kept John's memory alive.
Only 20 more minutes.
DabbleCon. Comedy at the Carlson. Oh, I look like an idiot.
Yes, you do,
Here we go.
loser.
That's it. Yeah, and definitely check out Tony Muskrat, SoundCloud.com. Tony Muskrat. He was a good dude. I think I remember meeting him.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts?
I just wanted to say that beautiful song. His voice is he's got the voice of an angel, and that was so well written. I'm surprised how well it was written and performed. It was genius. It was brilliant. It was all brilliant.
It was good stuff. Cardiff, what is the status of your feud with Bedorable or Bedabbler or El Horrible?
Not a feud. I just hate the fucker.
He's dead to you? Is there any? I mean, you're usually a bridge builder, not a fence downer.
Normally I am, yes. But when someone does what they did to me, there's no turning back. Like, remember when John blocked me? Do you remember? I don't know if you know
I wasn't
that John
aware of you
blocked
at that point, but I am aware situationally of what happened.
Yes.
Grizzlehorn says, love that song.
When someone turns their back on me like John did, the gloves come off, Carlos Danger. So watch your P's and Q's because you walk a tight rope of being close to the edge, to mix metaphors.
Between you and Ray DeVito, I've done nothing to no one. Ray DeVito wouldn't let me speak on his podcast last night, and now I've got Cardiff threatening me.
No, I'm just telling you to be careful. I'm giving you friendly dabbler advice.
Okay.
Again, remember, I'm the Lifetime Achievement Award winner, so I know from where I speak.
Gina Bobina says, unblock, be deplorable? I'm not really sure what that says. Jared says, y'all showed up into my hobby. I'm the original. Then one day this bizarre weirdo showed up, Carl. That's from Jared, who almost won free tickets there. I do respect Jared's knowledge of the Howard Stern show. It's definitely better than mine.
Absolutely. Jared, that is one thing for sure. He knows his Howard Stern. Whenever something came up that, and I'm not a genius when it comes to Stern trivia, but he might know more than I do.
I thought we would be doing a Belzer episode tonight.
Oh, that's right. Well, I mean, my memory of Belzer connected to Stern is definitely, that's where I learned that he was married right to the actress who starred in Emmanuel, my Skinamax fantasies as a little boy. Right, Brian? You're the resident pornographer. Did you mute yourself, you son of a bitch?
I think, Spears, you are muted.
Yeah, young lady Chatterley's lover.
Oh, even better.
Yeah.
I don't really remember
She also
Belzer's
played the coroner on Homicide.
for many years, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And he was Munch, right? Cardiff, what are your memories of Richard Belzer?
No, that's about it. Just him coming on Stern. I never knew he was a comedian until I heard him on Stern. I just thought he was a guy.
He was there when they
TV.
called Chevy Chase the first time. When they called him at home.
Was that when his housekeeper answered? Was that
Yeah.
Chevy Chase?
Yeah, and I think Jamie then got on.
I thought that was Gilbert Gottfried. No?
I think it was Belzer was there too. I know Gilbert was, I think, Seinfeld. They left a message on Seinfeld's answering machine.
I always got Belzer when I was younger confused with like David Brenner, David Steinberg. They all kind of melded together, those late 70s New York City comics. Chairman Meow.
He had one ball. They always made fun of that.
From Bridgeport, Connecticut, and was a Cub reporter in his early days at the Bridgeport Post, now known as the Connecticut Post, about 22 minutes from me here. Chairman Meow, wasn't Belzer fake Irish? I think that at that period in Bridgeport, you had to be fake Irish.
So I'd like to tell you my favorite moment that I think of Belzer is when he got choked out on live TV by Hollywood. Well, he wasn't Hollywood yet, but the great Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
And that was before Hogan was Hogan, right? That was before Hogan was a WWF champion, right?
No. He was the man at that point.
I thought it was right. I thought he was still in the NWA in those days. I could be wrong, but that's my memory.
I think that was right when they were promoting Saturday Night's Main Event.
Yes,
I believe. Yes.
Oh, okay.
The good old days.
That was what it is. Three most famous celebrity beatings, right? There's Belzer, and of course Andy Kaufman, and Jerry the King Lawler, and then John Stossel from David Schultz, which was captured in Dark Side of the Ring, or I think it was Dark Side of the Ring. They told that whole story.
Mr. Schultz is a bounty hunter. He left the wrestling. He was kind of shunned from the wrestling business after that, and I believe he is a bounty hunter these days.
And I think Belzer used to thank Hulk Hogan after for buying him his house.
He basically paid the entire France estate they had there.
Mm-hmm.
That was his great
The
line.
mistake wasn't choking him out either; it was dropping him. Had he just set him down, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But he dropped him, and Belzer's head was split wide open. And if you haven't, if you people out there listening, if you haven't seen that, look up Hogan. You probably just type Hogan chokes out Belzer.
Yeah, it's all over the place there. It's pretty violent if you're into that sort of thing. But I thought,
was it on Letterman? I don't remember. Was it Letterman?
It was on Belzer's show.
Yeah, Belzer.
Yes.
Was it on Belzer's show? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's why I thought it was before Hogan was champion. But all right, rest in peace, Richard Belzer. God bless you. God bless you for marrying the woman who made all those Skinamax movies back in the day. I do appreciate that. But I don't know. I came across this thing on YouTube, and it was the great Steve Langford. I always liked Steve Langford. He was only with the show for 6 years, which surprised me because I feel like he contributed so much. It felt longer.
But those were a big 6 years. Those first 6 years at Sirius.
What do you think? What do you mean by that, Cardiff?
Well, that was like. I'm not going to say those were the best years of Howard, but arguably they were.
I would say
that was definitely at the peak, at his highest point. It's never been better than it was then.
Brian, do you concur?
1906.
It was definitely must listen. You had to listen. Like, it was so new and so exciting. So yeah, I mean, I'll give it that. I had a secret love for Penny Crone. But yes, I totally got.
Well, Penny Crone, if you were in the tri-state area, she was like sort of a B-list news person. She was on Channel 5.
She was our wacky news reporter, and I just loved
the cheaper news station. She was no Jim Jensen or Gabe Pressman. Yeah. She was Penny Crone, and she'd always be doing just annoying, Mayor Koch press agents, right?
Yeah. So and I like that she would do like Stern's she would do his press conferences anytime he did something. And they all always just made fun of her there, and then she came over to. So I always had a little secret thing for Penny Crone because of that. Even though
sexual or just respect.
No. I thought it was funny that they hired her just to goof on her, which was really mean. And then they eventually probably got she got fired because she's nuts.
DD Mr. 88 or Mr. 88 agrees with Cardiff about those being the best years.
But yes, coming from not the tri-state area like you gentlemen, I had no idea who Penny Crone was. She was just some woman that showed up in a gold mustard jacket.
Yeah.
But those were all enjoyable times. I enjoyed all the content. And again, fun fact, Mr. Shuli the first person to have a show on Howard's Sirius channels.
Oh, I did not. I know.
Yeah.
Was that didn't they start off playing farts from what I recall?
Yes, but I'm saying like a first kind of hosted show was the Craptacular.
Yeah, like a live show.
Mm-hmm.
An organized show, right? Because the news had to, and I guess there were 25 people when it first started, approximately. And what a bizarre thing to have your own news. That's never been done before. To have your own news team with legitimate, working TV and radio reporters to cover a shock jock.
Well, I think that goes back to Cardiff's point about it being probably the greatest time. I mean, they were able to do that. The Howard Stern universe was so cool, and there's so much going on. They could actually have a real reporter come in and report on that universe, similar to what Mothering Jay is doing for us now.
Yeah, and the way there's so many podcasts that just kind of cover all these shows individually, I think Stern was ahead of the curve a little bit by not just having after shows had already been a thing, but by having these a news team, bizarre stuff. So what I want to share is
before you continue, I need to hijack your show a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Of the three of you, who is still listening to Howard?
I am.
I haven't listened probably since 2012.
And I'm about 2012, 2014.
Yeah, I'm probably around there too. Wow. So Spears is the last man standing.
Yep. I mean, listen, I'll say it, and we know it's not the same show. A lot of it for me is just routine. It's what I do for work. It's just in the background. It's not every day now. It can be like the beauty of it on a Saturday. I could just listen to the whole thing, and it's over. His whole 3 days. But yes, I still listen.
Do you enjoy listening to it? I mean, obviously,
I don't laugh as much. Listen, I don't like. I go to a YouTube. Well, listen, I've immersed myself in your guys' wacko world, so like I've spent a whole bunch of that. But I'm not as religious as I used to be. It was like literally like, it was plays all day. But now I go to a YouTube and watch an older video.
I mean, Brian's a creature of habit as someone that's known him forever. And like, yeah, Howard Stern is part of his daily existence and has been for a long time. He like works it into his work, what he does for a living. There's always Stern on. And right, can I tell stories of like, so Brian's a special effects makeup artist. So, right, I mean, all celebrities are they some closeted Howard Stern fans? Do people still, I mean, I guess back when he was rambunctious and bawdy.
Yeah, I remember.
Could you have it on and like, Marissa Tomei would come in and report you to the authorities? Or?
Well, the thing was, it was like a little bit more of a dirtier secret. I knew an actor that went up. He's like, oh, I got to go listen to Stern. Like, and he said it to me because one of the producers knew that I did that like gag with Richard Christie. You've been Richard Christie'd. That prank, and
that was the thing where you made a wound for Christian.
Yeah, like they did it.
Stern
got
pissed off,
and So
wait, let me just read this chat because I had it up. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you, but Scooter G says, anyone remember how much is a Pan Am flight from the GW Airport to the 14th Street Bridge? That was from his DC days. I'm a little too young for that, but read it in the books. Sorry, Brian.
Yes, I've had actors that like secretly listen to him, then people that are more open. And the more open now is the newer show. Like a lot of people listen now.
Now it's like a family show.
And now it's not, to me, it's not as cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like back in the day, it was more punk rock where I felt like a badass. But now I'm just like, now I'm just an old man that listens to somebody interview somebody for 2 hours.
It's Imus.
Yeah.
I am
Does it get as cheesy as Imus though? Because Imus
it's late night TV. It's once in a blue moon there's something funny. I can always laugh at like just the stupid stuff sometimes Baba Booey goes through, just because I think he's probably the only one that's slightly the most real on the show anymore. I don't know. It's like, I should break up with this girl, but I just, it's convenient. You know what I'm trying to say?
And we should not shame, Brian should not be shamed for still sticking to Stern. It's one of the reasons I respect you,
I do laugh. Like, I still laugh, but it's not as much as I wish and not as much as, I should be.
B. Dabbler says
Take that down.
Sorry, El Harible. I got to listen to Cardiff, but I think it was he looks like Imus now. All right, so here is Steve Langford. This was the day after. Okay, so.
Excuse me.
Do you want to set it up, Cardiff? Yes?
No, why am I below Obnoxious John? He's not a lifetime Dabbler Achievement Award winner.
I'm only a nominee, and I'm not even on video, so I should be at the bottom.
I agree.
I don't know how to change. I've been sitting here sweating the whole time, and I've been
just drag me.
Just drag you? But then the remove shows up.
No, just grab my face and drag me up.
Oh, on this. Oh.
Thank you.
Okay. What, do you want to be at the very top? There you go.
Yeah, you know what? That's probably better for the show.
Yeah, did you tweet this by any chance, for God's sakes?
Yes.
16 viewers. This is a bad reflection on you more than it is than me. All right, so look, the day before this particular broadcast, there was a controversy in the studio. Steve Langford had approached George Takei, asked George to do some type of assignment for his daughter. Word got back to Howard Stern. Howard Stern said, don't bother the guests, called Steve into the studio. Steve, being a man of principle, would not come in to the studio. So that right there tells you he wasn't a guy who was that interested in airtime. So here's what happened the next day.
Steve Langford, my good buddy, is here with headlines. I'm going to ask him why he did not come in yesterday. I think a major faux pas on your part. We could have worked it out.
The audience reaction was appropriate. They were very upset.
Steve, you took a beating in the email. Everyone said you were hypocritical. You didn't come in. You didn't talk things over with me. You know I'm a
Yes.
I just remembered how much I used to like that. Steve Langford has a huge penis.
I know you were late, Cardiff, but I kind of opened the show with I sang that. When we
did you?
Yeah,
I did this.
Cut that
Who
part
gives
out,
a shit? Who gives a fuck?
Yeah. But wait, the masked gentleman whose name I'm not allowed to speak.
If you would like to refer to him, you can call him Dabbling Fuckface.
Dabbling Fuckface.
Yes, I will accept that.
Says the Billy West years were the best years, by the way. But I will argue that is there any defined era in the Stern universe that is Billy West? I feel like a lot of people didn't realize Billy West's genius until we realized everything he was doing in the subsequent years. Is anybody with me on that?
I think you realize the genius of Billy West in the absence of Billy West, if that's what you're trying to say.
Well, and also I didn't realize he was doing so much. I thought a lot of that was Jackie. I thought it was drops. I didn't realize in those years that it was actually Billy West doing so much. Maybe I'm just a moron.
But that's a cool thing about the older Stern days is it's all, your own opinion. You can't, it's my opinion that like the Artie years were the best years. Like somebody could say the Jackie years were the best years, and nobody could be wrong in that because they were all great years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to argue and judge people based on that, though.
There's no wrong answer because that's the thing. It's like, I think there's certain eras that you could argue that, yes, it's definitely not this time and it's definitely not this time. But that middle there, again, I love the Artie years. I love Sirius. I loved all of that. But then I go back and listen to things now and it's like I kind of miss, when, Jackie would laugh at inappropriate news stories. That was a drop. Or if it went on farther, that was just incredible.
Billy West is like the John Cazale in Howard Stern history. He was only there for 3 years. What am I supposed to call him?
Dabbling Fuckface.
Dabbling Fuckface. He officially was hired January 94 and was gone before the movie.
Backstabbing Dabbling Fuckface. That's better. Yes.
Backstabbing Dabbling.
More accurate.
Fuckface makes
All right,
some
well,
good
I have
points.
a question then. When he was he hired for the show or was he working already in the production side of it? Because that's how he started. He would do half the time recording stuff for the whole.
He worked for the station, I think.
Yes, the station.
I'm sure if we go track down, was it Stuttering John and Royce did that great special that I subscribed to that website for.
Cardiff did an episode on it too.
I covered all 3 segments. Yes.
It was very good stuff. All right, back to this. Sorry, we made it 20 seconds and I interrupted. I apologize. People fucking hate that.
Reasonable guy. I wasn't angry. I was just, hey, I don't think that's cool. That's all.
Let me put this in context. I've done interviews with a lot of my friends' children.
That's irrelevant.
No, but that's what it was all about.
No, but listen to me.
Here in this case, it happened to be Steve. But
Steve is one of my newscasters.
Yes.
I've given the news department autonomy when it comes to anything, news stories. They have autonomy. But when it comes to meeting George Takei and then you ask him a favor like, can my daughter interview you? He shouldn't be doing that. It's not appropriate.
But I've had many friends' daughters and sons.
I understand that. But we are in a business of catering to people like you and making sure you're comfortable with us and that we don't become nudges. And so then when we do need a favor, it's for the show.
George Takei was the official announcer.
I'm sorry, Cardiff, go ahead.
George Takei was the official announcer of the show, so kind of was not really just a guest.
Yeah, at that time he was very. After his first day, he was just sort of a member of that show at that time.
Oh, in my mind, he was always sort of an outsider. But again, I guess
because in the beginning he was on quite often, and they used him more, and then his personal life became a big thing. So it was just that time.
He'd come in weeks at a time.
Yeah.
Friends.
Yes, you can, but no one should really hock you for favors, especially listen. Steve's daughter's a lovely girl, I'm sure, but she can meet other people to interview. Steve, how do you respond now that you're here and you've had a day to think about it and reflect on it?
Well, first of all, the reason I did not come in
yesterday
when I heard you talking is because I probably would have come in yelling
So that would have been
At
good.
you.
Good. Let me have
Why
it.
did
How am I
you
wrong?
Well, because I
us.
thought I'd, take a moment and think about it. So that's why I didn't come in.
Great moment.
Thank you for robbing us.
No,
thief. Why were you angry? Do you disagree with what I'm saying?
No, it's your show.
Right.
And it's
Well,
your
I mean,
right.
it's a policy.
Yeah, it's your show. It's the way you want to run it. Absolutely. No question. However, my kids are not material for this show.
Your kid isn't
Your
what
kid
we
isn't.
talked about on
Do you
the
remember
show.
when Doug Goodstein was putting his
Came
daughter
right
in
in
the
here.
chair?
My kids have never come here.
Sorry, Cardiff, were you saying something?
Oh, I just suggested that somebody clean the cum out of their ears if they didn't hear me.
Are you? Who is that directed to?
Just someone in the chat said that they didn't hear me.
Oh, okay.
Just saying.
And we do have Dice Kinnison. I wanted to get this up real quick. Dice Kinnison says, Artie's departure put the show on life support. The loss of Eric the Midget officially pulled the plug.
That was a hard one.
Hard to argue with that. I felt for me, if anybody is interested, actually, I'm not even going to say it because nobody is interested. I'll go back to the fucking video.
Well, hold on. Just, this is definitely not an Artie day. Artie must not have been in that day.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he was in the day before. I think I remember hearing
Well, that's
him laugh.
usually what happened. He would do every other day with George. He was always absent at least one or two of the days that George worked for some reason.
Got some awful things happening. This might affect our monetization should we qualify in the chat. Eric the Midget, this is from Dice Kinnison, would be at the center of this bizarre podcast world we're all fascinated with. That sawed-off little prick would be hysterical in this climate. I feel like that's Shuli under an assumed name, but yeah. Oh, and I also dig your Tony. What's his name? I have that hanging behind me. Say it, Carlos. I'm interested. I don't even remember what I was going to say.
No, but you're using the show to get an interview
My kids
with George.
are not material for
I'm
this show.
not talking about your kid.
You did.
I don't know what. No, I did not. You're hiding behind.
No,
that.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No,
Yes,
absolutely
you are.
not.
How am I talking about your
We would never
kid?
cover your kids. Ever.
I'm not covering your kids,
Because
but
you
if
were
my
probably
You
told to never
reported on
cover
this
Howard's
show
kids.
about my kids' project. And I don't.
I talked
That's
about
not
my
right.
kid going to the McCartney concert
That's
with
fine.
me and me asking for an autograph.
You do what you want. It's your show.
Right.
But not my kids.
I don't know anything about your kid. So let's
Fine.
say instead of your kid, your brother. Not that you have a brother. Do you have a brother?
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay. Do you have a sister?
Yes.
Do you have a grandmother?
Not anymore.
All right. She's deceased. Yeah. If I heard a story where you went up to George Takei and say, can my grandmother interview you? I would say to you, you know what, Steve? Maybe you should back off that because George is here. The only reason you know George is through my show.
Absolutely. And I agree with you on that point.
That's
There's
right.
no question.
And I don't learn anything about your grandmother by saying that or your kid. I didn't even know you had a kid. Who would marry you?
Do you know that when I worked at Hard Copy 15 years ago, your kids came up?
So if you
at one point, and we had some knuckleheads running the show at that point,
right?
And they were apparently about to publish, air a photo of you with your kids, and we all looked at the people upstairs and said, "You're out of your mind.
Well, let
this
me say
is
something.
over the line."
Let me say something.
And just to jump in there, going back into Steve Langford's history a little bit, Cardiff, do you happen to know where he's from originally, where Steve Langford was born? I'm going to put you on the spot.
I think he's Canadian, isn't he?
That's exactly right, Cardiff. Of course you know that because you know everything. You're from Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess he became, and all my content that I'm going to read right now, it's from the definitive podcast, I think, is Al Dukes interviewed him in 2015, Al's Boring Podcast. And it was a pretty good interview if you're into Steve Langford. But he became a French NBC radio correspondent in the early 1980s, came to America, got a job as a local TV news reporter in Cincinnati, and then was basically Ron Burgundy all through the early 80s when you could hop from job to job and rise up the ladder in local TV news. And his first big break was he was on A Current Affair, not the Maury Povich version, but the Maureen O'Doyle version. So he was basically a tabloid reporter for those big time syndicated shows of, I guess, the late 80s, 90s, that sort of thing. He also worked for MSNBC briefly, Celebrity Justice, which was early Harvey Levin before he did TMZ. He did something called Celebrity Justice, Court TV, The Insider, which was sort of like A Current Affair, all before joining Stern.
Wait, old current affair or hard copy?
He says hard copy,
No,
but
he always said hard copy.
Yeah, he's always said.
And I know current affair was like a competing show to hard copy. Did he do both?
Yeah, I mean, I was listening to this podcast today and I could almost, I didn't double source it, but I'm almost convinced what I heard is what I wrote down. Maybe he then mentioned hard copy, but that's what I have here and I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stand by my sources.
Yeah, that was hard copy was his main credit. They used to talk about on Stern.
And that was
I never knew him before Stern. Like, so
yeah, me neither. No, I can't say he was terribly known. He was sort of a journeyman, but he did have. He says himself he wasn't. You would think that a job with Howard 100 News would mean the end of your news career, but he didn't view it like that at all. He viewed it as just another assignment and was actually into it. He was looking to cover this world the way he had covered other beats before. We got a bunch here. So let me get this straight. This Steve Langford was a news guy working with Stern, and he asked George Takei to let his daughter interview him. That's about as unprofessional as it gets. Boom. Al Dukes, yes, WFAN legend, I guess, right? He did both. B. Dabbler is saying, or giant fuckface, cocksucking bastard, I can't remember.
Backstabbing, dabbling fuckface.
Says hard copy 95 to 99. We got a Cardiff is the greatest. We got a current affair in 2005. And I'll get back to the interview. Oh, what I was going to say earlier is that I thought the Stern show really died his birthday party when he invited all those celebrities and it wasn't what it should have been.
And I was going to point out, if you're familiar with the Steve Langford high-pitched mic saga, you would know that Steve Langford is Canadian.
Say that again, OJ. I'm sorry, I missed that.
Oh, the Steve Langford and High Pitch Mike saga. If you're familiar with that, then you would definitely know that Steve is from Canada and not a U.S. citizen.
And we have a kink. I believe he's a U.S. citizen. Let's not besmirch the man.
Penis. That was for Kinky.
Kinky logo. Have you guys? Go ahead, Cardiff.
My favorite was the
Lisa?
No.
Takes shits at work?
Oh, fuck. Why am I forgetting his name?
Who gives a shit? Who gives a fuck?
Sour Shoes?
Oh, Sour Shoes. The Sour Shoes calls.
Yeah.
Those were a lot of fun.
I almost grabbed a bunch of those.
He kind of lives near me.
Yeah. I've missed out on greatness so many times, but I worked at a small newspaper in Mount Kisco, New York, and another reporter grew up with Sour Shoes, and Sour Shoes just randomly would come into the newsroom every once in a while, but never when I was there. Yell at Gina.
Sour Shoes calling, I'm Michael Rappaport. Pranking him as Gary Baba Booey is one of the funniest prank phone calls I think I've ever heard.
All right, so here we go, back to the show.
A very nice thing. That's not
always
the same.
been my policy.
Steve, so let's say, what do I learn about your daughter? Nothing. I'm learning about you. You know this was a criticism of you and not your daughter. You're the one
who bleeds
who
over. It certainly spoils.
That's
my kid's
ridiculous.
It spoils your kid's project?
But Steve, why did you? But wait.
Guy whose name I keep forgetting. So his family's well known.
Backstabbing, fuckface.
Backstabbing, dabbling.
It's easy.
Fuckface.
Just think about his face, and it'll make you understand.
Okay.
It'll make you remember. That's a memory tool, a memorization tool. Look at his face, and you will immediately see backstabbing, dabbling, fuckface.
Backstabbing, dabbling, fuckface.
Can we maybe resolve this? I know that.
No,
not right now. This is hilarious.
No, I'm talking about a dabble court.
Okay. Well, guilty. Let's move on.
No, but what were you going to say, Brad? We know where he lives because everybody knows in our two towns.
You just know like who it is, and he also names. He always does like the reason I find him hilarious is he names places where he works. It's all like businesses that have closed down 30 years ago. It was so because he's like literally I think my age.
And the other guy is Jeff Pearlman, the Sports Illustrated writer, is from that same town.
And it's pretty easy when you follow a guy home in roller skates carrying a synthesizer to.
I've never seen that. I've seen him like across the. We have mutual friends. I haven't, and also I don't want to meet him because I don't like that'll break that fourth wall. You know what I'm saying? That
That's why I didn't want to meet Cardiff, and he forced himself on me at DabbleCon.
Why did you use your daughter and involve her with the show by hooking her up with George? Why didn't you leave? Why didn't you leave it up to your daughter?
You were going to bring this up on the air.
But you took your daughter and you took advantage of the show and involved your daughter with someone from our show.
No, I believe that George Takei is a very important figure.
Yes, and how do you know him?
And this is what the project was about.
Would your daughter ever meet George Takei outside of you meeting him through my show? Because
that's not really the complete point. The point is that George Takei is a very important figure, I believe, in terms of civil rights in this country. And I thought it was a very important educational moment.
My kids went through school. There were many times I could have stepped in and been a hero and said, look,
Paul McCartney?
I know. That's right. Many times I could have stepped in and been a hero. And I didn't. In other words, I know Chris Rock. Chris Rock's a great comedian. I have his home phone number. I could call Chris Rock conceivably and say, look, my daughter has a school project. I want to be a hero. Would you sit there and do an interview? Now, I know that Chris would do it for me, but it's a tremendous imposition. And I know that George would do anything for me, too. I won't ask that because I do know he'll do anything for me.
It's your show, and you're right on that.
Okay, that's all. So why'd you hide? Why don't you come in and confront me?
At the moment, I was going to come in and...
What? What were you going to do?
I was going to come in and yell.
Good. And I would have told you you're insane.
Good for you. Not for me.
That's insane.
But why is the project ruined?
It's not. The project was ruined when Steve got involved. He should not get involved in kids' projects. Parents have to stay out of it.
Oh, come on. Sometimes you can help out.
No, that's going beyond.
Baloney. No, it's not.
Your daughter could have. Your daughter knows many people in the community who are excellent educators. Like I know people who survived the Holocaust.
So do
who
I.
would be excellent. Right. So your daughter would say.
And you don't think George Takei is important enough?
Yes,
I do.
but he's a guest on this show.
Enough.
He's
not a guest. He's part of the show.
Okay, fine. Even if he's part of the show. He's somebody I do business with. I don't want to be noticed by this stuff. That's all. That was my point. You agree with me.
On that point.
Of course. Of course you do. That's why you didn't come in.
No.
Nothing to do with your daughter.
No.
I don't know your daughter. I don't know your daughter.
Right.
All right, so it goes on like that for like another 2 minutes, but that's pretty much the gist of the argument there. And I wanted to throw it out to the panel and to the people in the chat. Who's right here? Starting with Obnoxious Jon.
Well, I see both points, actually. Just being a fan of Howard, and anybody that knows Howard should know better than to do something like that. So I think Steve was wrong in that sense. He should have known better. But then again, I think he's just anal about that kind of sort of thing. And I think he's kind of ridiculous about it. And then with Steve and his kids, I think Steve's kind of being ridiculous about.
How dare you? He's a man of principle.
If
what's a man without a code?
Well, if Howard had mentioned his kid's name and what school it was, and that would have been wrong, But he didn't do that. He just said Steve's kid. And
what do you think? What do you think, Spears?
I just think he overreacted.
I mean, I think we won. I think it's great radio. I mean, I'm sure Howard believes what he's saying, but I don't think he cares. So we all won. We won because we got to listen to him just kind of stir up stuff.
Cardiff?
Yeah, I think Howard was just being a bit of a dick here. But again, that was the show most of the time. But I think deep down, he was upset about it.
Oh, this is something that totally bothers him.
Yes.
But he made a mountain out of a molehill, and it was good radio. Like, he knew what he was doing.
And I thought it was different to see somebody like Langford handle it in a way that is, he's trying to maintain his professionalism as a news reporter in this ridiculous circumstance, which is different than like a stuttering John or Grillo fighting back. So for me, that was something different in terms of these fights.
It makes Howard look worse because he's being more of a dick to him. And just kind of, rubbing it in, putting the salt in that wound. And it's like that's as Steve just keeps saying no. Howard just he just won't stop.
This wasn't an intern trying to get an autograph from Brad Pitt. This was a guy working on the show talking to another guy working on the show, as far as I'm concerned.
And what I think, according to that Al's Boring podcast, and then another interview that Langford did in May 2022 with Here's the Pitch, that ST Weekly YouTube page, him and Takei were friendly, and Steve ended up doing some type of audio documentary, I believe. I don't know if it was on the Stern Show or not, about how, Takei's family was taken away in the middle of the night and put in an internment camp and all that. So it was a legitimate purpose. So
also, George was known to socialize with a lot of the people on the show when he was in for those couple days or a week or two. He would hang out with a bunch of them.
Hey now, writer Albert Lanier, who I believe was a writer on Ain't It Cool News. I did get your email, Albert. We would love to have you on, but as you can see, I'm not organized or structured in any way. He says
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was a freelance print journalist for over 20 years. This Langford reminds me of the kind of radio/TV guys I would meet at press cons, basically clueless amateurs. That's right. If you ever want to know where TV news gets its news, it's from your local newspaper. God damn it. Beloved Chatter's loved one. Hello, my old friend. Howard's dad introduced him to all sorts of voice actors and industry people. His dad did the same thing and viewed his dad as a hero for it. So there is Beloved Chatter's loved one saying Howard was a bit hypocritical. Gina Bobina, you have my permission to steal my answer, Cardiff. Beloved Chatter's loved ones, or I'm not sure what she was talking about there. I'm sorry, I'm behind on these. Well, we're acting like these are super chats when we were not monetized. Beloved Chat.
Oh, speaking of.
Go ahead.
Subreddit surfing just hit all the thresholds to monetize. So yes, look forward to just reading super chats Mondays at 8 p.m. on subreddit surfing.
That'll be the new format. You're going to do the Brennan route.
Yes.
I love that Brennan today was interrupting like legitimate arguing to read super chats. Hold on, we're behind. Yeah. Shut up. I mean, I find that hilarious. Subreddit surfing is like the 60 Minutes of the Dabblerverse, by the way. It's like this. It's almost like has a PBS air to it. I'm very impressed by it. It makes me feel dumb. It's a good time.
So wait, back to Steve.
Wait, let me read this one real fast. Beloved Chatter's loved one. I'm not sure about the huge penis, but that man had giant balls. Thank you, Beloved Chatter's loved one. Yes, OJ.
We all agree that Howard may have overreacted, but you guys don't think that Steve also overreacted about his kids being involved on air?
I think like Steve had a certain way he conducted himself and operated by a certain code of ethics that maybe not everyone there operated with. And so in his mind, in his world, he acted appropriately.
Again, we didn't listen to the whole clip.
Yeah, the whole thing goes in.
There's a lot more to it. And
there's a lot more to this.
Yeah. So,
well, thanks for helping with show prep. You guys saw the fucking outline. You saw what I had.
Well, I mean, it's a good enough.
Now we're an hour into it. You're like, oh, there's so much more.
It just shows you, like, Steve Langford is a weirdo. Like, he was weird, but also George was friendly with so many people. I mean, I think later in that interview, Richard originally wanted George to, like, be the, to marry him and his wife. And, like, Howard found out about that. Like, but I guess George said no to that even before. But like, that's
the right. What's his? Is it all right? But DD88 says George didn't even care. In fact, he defended Steve. That's right. Beloved Chatter's loved one. Howard protecting the guest he repeatedly duped and ridiculed with fake Arnold and Artie fake coming. Oh yeah, that's right. Artie fake coming out of the closet. How terrible was that? They tormented George. Yes. Thank you, Beloved Chatter's loved one.
Oh my.
But it was funny. It was funny. Oh.
Howard was right. A real news radio guy doesn't do this. And that's that. So anyway, that was the argument there. I mean, I don't know. Are you guys interested in hearing a little bit about why he left the show, or have we had enough Langford? Should we get into Pissgate a little?
Let's hear why Langford left.
I can't get enough of. I love covering anything Stern, so I'm having a blast. So yeah, keep up with whatever.
Okay, so as do I, but I feel like sometimes I don't know, I'm wrong. But all right, let me see if I can share this. This is that podcast. I mean, I found this podcast through the Howard Stern Reddit. Whoever posted it no longer exists, so I can't credit that in depth. But here's the Al Dukes podcast from I think 2015. I don't know. Oh yeah, there it is, 2015.
When Howard TV was still a thing?
Yes.
And then were you there when that got dissolved?
I had already left.
You had already left. And now it seems like the news department's really just one guy there.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure they even.
We can
exist.
until you talk over it.
Yeah, maybe not even fully exist. It's kind of weird. I guess they don't need that.
True.
I guess the show has changed, and that was my sense in leaving, that it was time to move on.
What sort of things did you start looking at any particular time where it was like it's time to go?
After about 5 years, because I did a lot of great stories there. I mean, I enjoyed it a lot. I did great stories, and but after 5 years, you could kind of sense that the focus of the show was changing, and so it was time to move on.
Yeah, and you, because I know I was Googling you just to sort of see your career.
So that was that. He basically said he could sense that the tenor of the show was changing. Cardiff, are you playing the guitar? Or was my kids are screaming upstairs? I don't know what the hell is going on.
That was probably on the podcast. Background music.
Very nice. But that was Steve Langford saying that. And by the way, like, credit to Steve Langford for the story that I think he was most famous for. Kenneth Keith Kallenbach dying in prison. Steve actually did a good job with that and brought some attention to, I believe, the abuse,
the prison system,
alleged inside a private prison system way before it was in the mainstream
Was that
media.
a Pennsylvania prison?
I believe it was,
I
yeah.
think it was.
I personally thought his best story was when he covered Day in the Life of Bigfoot.
And in one of the interviews, he says that, two of his favorite subjects were Riley Martin, the great Riley Martin, and Bigfoot, who OJ just alluded to. Yes, that guy was so great.
He also, reported on the whole Jenks controversy when Jenks owed all the clubs money. That was pretty crazy.
Beloved Chadda's loved one says, when they attacked Langford with sour shoes, I want you to go to jail for this. Yeah, that's on YouTube too. That's
Cardiff mentioned that earlier. That was great. And it wasn't even sour shoes, if you remember.
It was drops.
Sour shoes at first, and then Sal and Richard took over with just recordings of sour shoes messing with Langford. It was genius.
It was good. All right, so the other thing I was going to do, and then I have like. Did you know Anthony Michael Hall was offered or was up for the part of Joker in Full Metal Jacket? I don't know if anybody cares about that. And then I have
now?
No. Before production. But let's end
Jim
it.
and Sam show or on Kevin. He did a bunch of those interviews. I've heard that story a million times now.
All right. So again, thank you for telling me that after we went live on the air. It's only been there for a fucking week. So let's end on, and I don't know if Obnoxious John is going to go along with this, but Pissgate is still a thing somehow, mostly because of the perpetrator of Pissgate brought it up again on a live stream last night. And I'm just seeing there's some... What the fuck? There is more to cover in Pissgate. Kinky Loco says, I love everything Pissgate. So should we go into this or is it dead? I don't know if what the panel wants to do or what the chat wants to do. The very quick clip. Let's see it. OJ, are you okay with this?
I'm fine with anything, yeah.
All right, so there we go. So this was last night on the Sad Chad podcast, the very end of it. On your screen is, of course, the Ski Mask host, Kevin, Stevie Lou, and a doctor whose name I can't pronounce.
Why Do I Podcasts, renamed Why Do I P-Cast?
Beautiful.
But I think it's still at Why Do I Podcast, so I don't know. I don't know what you're saying that I'm not leaning into this. I'm trying to lean into this as much as I can and have fun with it, but I'd also would prefer to stop talking about it. So.
Sure. Okay, but
I'd like to get past it. I think it's a funny thing that we can make fun of. Again, I just don't get all the vitriol and the hate and the malicious intent that is gotten from it.
Think you don't know the meaning of. You keep using that word vitriol.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
That you
people,
think what it means,
the text
what
that
it
people
means.
They think I did this out of on purpose, malicious intent, and I did this for some kind of.
Dude, you don't know. You were blacked out, so there is no answer.
I know how I felt about OJ, and I know how I felt about OJ that day, and there was no way I would ever on purpose do that. There was no reason to do that.
Myself. Dude, if OJ was really your boy, you would have never said nothing about the hotel. You would have kept that all down low. And it would have
I said that in response to other people. No, I said that in response to other people because the people were bringing it up.
You shouldn't have let other people get in the way of you and your
Dude,
boy.
but my relationship with OJ is already dead, so what the fuck do I care?
You fucked up.
Dude, my relationship with OJ is dead. Like I said, he jumped to the next rung of the ladder.
It shouldn't have been, and it wouldn't have been if you handled it right.
Oh, no, you're wrong there. It was dead as soon as he just completely never responded to me. You're wrong there. You're wrong there. I gave him every opportunity. I gave him every opportunity to have. I would have made it right. I would have made it right any way I could have.
You're speaking in black and white, buddy. You're speaking in black and white. You're not accepting that there's a gray area and that we all live in that gray area and that you got a bit of denial going on still, buddy. And we'll love you.
What am I denying?
All the shit that you just said is pretty fakakta, if you ask me.
What specifically? What am I denying?
That I just said that you were doing a bad move if that was really your boy by dragging this out further and by trying to place the blame now on him.
No, at the point,
deflection. That's a
deflection.
deflection.
That's what I'm saying.
Bro.
At the point where I said that, he wasn't my boy anymore.
So
I was done with him.
doesn't matter why you're deflecting. You're still deflecting, buddy. You know
I'm not deflecting, and it's explanation.
You are by trying to turn him into the demon. You're trying to demonize him for stupid reasons, and that is deflecting. You should have just been like, "Listen, OJ's the man. I fucked up. Even my response to my fuck up, and maybe someday me and him could get back from it. But right now,
it's unfixable. Fuck it."
Again,
fuck
black
it.
and
Fuck
white
it
situation.
And fuck him. Fuck it and fuck him.
Don't say that.
Now, it's not a high bar, I know, but that's the most intelligent thing Stevie Lou has ever said.
Credit to Stevie Lou there. I thought he did a good job sort of explaining this from a human perspective there. And it's just not, you just can't penetrate some people forcefully or otherwise. I don't know. Does anyone else have any comments to that? I know, OJ, you're done with it. Did you want to respond to any of that, or we got an agreed, well done,
Kevin
Stevie.
Gave me every chance to accept his apology. Like he's given me a chance to apologize. Like
you didn't accept his apology in his timeline in the way that he wanted and the manner he demanded.
Yeah, so. And I wish nothing but good luck to Kevin and everything he does in the future. And I have, that's fine. He could have his opinions about me. I still don't hate the guy. I'm not gonna be mad, but we're forever connected in the Dabbleverse with this pistery. But
that's a good way to look at it, I think.
I don't hate the guy. It's fine. He cannot like me. It's fine. I wish him nothing but success, and I hope everything he does turns out great.
Well, hopefully.
Go ahead.
What were you going to call him?
Backstabbing, dabbling, fuckface.
Fuck, you got it, kid.
Only took an hour. He says everyone should stop talking about it until he goes away. He loves the attention.
I was just going to say, I wonder what will happen at the next WATP live event. Will Obnoxious John be there? Will Kevin Dumbfuck be there? Will Cardiff Electric be there? Well, no, I'll be there. Fuck that. Yeah.
That's in April in Philadelphia, correct?
Oh, I'm talking about the next. That's the Dick Show crossover. There's one coming. I have some inside information.
Can you share? Let's end on a positive note, because now my Catholic guilt is eating me alive, and I feel like it wasn't right to play the clip I just played. Like maybe it was.
I'm glad. Look, like I just said, this is the story.
But to make me feel better, I want to hear this inside gossip. Let's end on a positive note together. In a sense of community, let's get some inside information from Cardiff to heal, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Can you give us some hints?
They have a Major League Baseball team.
I don't watch sports.
And it will be while the Major League Baseball season is still in effect. So Cardiff will be having a baseball outing with everybody at that live event.
All right, so now everyone has to go back to everything Cardiff has ever said on any stream ever. At one point, he mentioned he went on a tour of baseball parks, and there were a couple that he didn't get to. So I'm thinking one of those might be in the running.
That is correct, Carlos Danger. I have not been to this park. Yes, that is correct.
All right, so there's our assignment. That's what we have to do by next week, and we'll figure out where this next is. It going to be called? Can we call it DabbleCon again? Is it DabbleCon 2?
I don't know the main event, but we may have the Stutchon Con we've all been waiting for.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Maybe Spears will show up finally.
Yes,
maybe.
It's a little farther than Rochester, though.
Are you going to be giving any more clues anytime soon, or
maybe
one?
Well, Cardiff, if people want to find out more about the next DabbleCon, the next StutJoeCon, more about you, your hair, where can they go? Oh, I didn't realize it's a week. I didn't know that. It's the first I've heard.
I celebrate our presidents all week. Yes.
Good for you.
Yes, thank you. Patreon.com/Cardiff Electric, the Cardiff Electric YouTube. I'm going to be hopefully a little more active there than I have been the last couple weeks. It's a little burnt out from DabbleCon.
Hey, you've done so much for the community and made so many people laugh, and then like hoisted up little losers like this podcast.
Yes.
Thank you for all you do.
That's what I do. I wouldn't call you little losers.
You had to end with a fat joke. Why don't you call me a drunk while you're at it? That makes me feel good.
No. I wasn't making fun of your weight. I was making fun of your lack of success podcasting. Anyway, subreddit surfing, Mondays at 8 p.m. on YouTube. And follow me on Twitter. That's the only official social media for me.
And Mr. Obnoxious John, I hope I didn't put you on the spot again, but where can people follow you? And you know I love you.
At Obnoxious John on YouTube and Twitter. And yeah, you can find me on the guy that we're not allowed to mention show.
His name is
Backstabbing,
dabbling, fuckface.
Piece of shit.
Piece of shit.
Yeah, I just added another surname.
Oh, yeah, and he's at, that's right, youtube.com/backstabbing, dabbling, fuckface.
Yes, type all that in.
All right, everybody, I'm Carlos Danger. That's Brian Spears, and we'll see you next time.
Wait, no Walking Dead?
All right, did you want to hear that? I always feel like 50 minutes is...
I came here for The Walking Dead.
Okay, all right.
Bonus.
So there is this interview, now I got to find it again, where it's the actor, what's his name? Bernthal, Spears' buddy. He played, who did he play on the show? I don't know, where the fuck are my notes?
Shane.
That's right, Shane. And it's Lori Wayne Callies, Sarah Wayne Callies. And they did this podcast. I mean, the podcast, it's more insufferable than this one. But they do go into they kind of admit that pretty early on, The Walking Dead jumped the shark, and they even talk about why.
Before you play this, what's his first? Jon Bernthal. His appearance on Joe Rogan was fascinating. You should check it out. I was impressed.
Was that a couple of years ago? Is that the one where he talks about how
No, it was a few weeks. It was maybe a month ago.
Okay, I didn't see it then.
He went to Russia to study acting. And very, very interesting story. I did not see it coming.
Did he also claim to be like a street fighter, though? He's the only guy I know that was raised, went to private school his whole life, studied in Russia really young, and then was also on the streets battling people in Yonkers. I don't know.
Yeah, he went to jail for fighting.
Yeah.
Almost killing a guy. He was actually in the holding cell, waiting for a medical status update.
It's not like a Machine story. It's not like, what's his name in the
fuck
Machine?
Him.
See the preview for that movie? Holy shit, I hope that bombs.
Piece of shit.
That looks bad.
I hate that guy. Unless he comes on my show.
Yeah, I've said when I first saw The Machine, it made me laugh. I thought it was hysterical, but yeah, I've never.
How did you feel about it the 872nd time you heard about it on a show?
Right, yeah, and then I realized, that's all this guy is that one story. He's funnier than I am, though. So.
No, he's not.
All right, here we go. Here's Jon Bernthal and Lori from The Walking Dead.
And also how toxic this business can be. I'm just wondering if you can kind of take me through your experience going with Frank Darabont, him, finding out that he was getting fired in the middle of it, what that was sort of for you, as much as you're down with talking about it. And, I'm down as well. But you know, what lessons did you learn from that? What did that? You know,
Can you
you
pause
had
it
been
for a
through
second?
big show before, like I hadn't. Like that was
Yes.
like, you know,
Seeing him sitting like that right now, forget everything I said. He's a douche.
I think he might come from some trust fund stuff there. I have this is just my gut feeling.
Yeah, douche.
Yeah, I just got douche chills seeing that.
I should play the beginning of the pot. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to do it now. But basically, what he says is that Frank Darabont leaving the show killed the show. And then the actress says that, yes, and I tried to stand up for him. And when I told one of the executive producers my position, as he was talking, I knew I was going to get written off the show. That's my dog barking upstairs. So they're basically saying The Walking Dead went off the rails from the very start. But here is Jon Bernthal being Jon Bernthal. Look at that. Look how manly this dude is. He's got a...
Hey, Manny, I'm just going to say this. He's a really nice guy, so I'll also say that.
We're just kidding. We're just kidding.
Yeah.
So anyway, I ruined my own clip. That's Jon Bernthal. You want to end with, I have the other things that I prepared is Anthony Michael Hall talking about Stanley Kubrick talked to him about Full Metal Jacket. Or we can end on a really positive note and listen to Jon Voight, his famous soliloquy from the end of Runaway Train, written by, I believe, Akira Kurosawa. Or did I get that wrong?
I think you got that wrong. Play the Runaway Train. I could watch that every day.
Runaway Train. One of the writers was Eddie Bunker. Spent, by the time he was 35, half of his adult life in prison, was friends with Danny Trejo. Came out, became a writer in prison, was in Reservoir Dogs.
He was, was he Mr. Blue?
I believe so. He was the old guy. I don't remember his exact color.
Shit, I'm gonna go to Mardi Gras.
This is life.
Vegas, and I'm gonna go with enough money in my hip pocket to catch them fine bitches. You know what I mean?
Told my son this.
You know, I spend almost every night of my life dreaming about this kind of shit.
Dreaming?
Yeah.
Dreaming. That's bullshit. You're not gonna do nothing like that. I'll tell you what you're gonna do. You're gonna get a job. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna get a little job, some job a convict can get. Like scraping off trays in the cafeteria or cleaning out toilets. And you're gonna hold on to that job like gold. Because it is gold. Let me tell you, Jack, that is gold. You listening to me? And when that man walks in at the end of the day, and he comes to see how you done, you ain't gonna look in his eyes. You're gonna look at the floor.
He's talking to you,
Because
Stuttering
you don't
John
wanna see that fear
Fingernails.
in his eyes when you jump up and grab his face and slam him to the floor and make him scream and cry for his life. So you look right at the floor, Jack. Pay attention to what I'm saying, motherfucker. And then he's gonna look around the room, see how you done. He's gonna say, oh, you missed a little spot over there. Jeez, you didn't get this one here. What about this little bitty spot? And you're gonna suck all that pain inside you, and you're gonna clean that spot. And you're gonna clean that spot. Until you get that shining clean. And on Friday, you pick up your paycheck. And if you could do that, you could be president of Chase Manhattan Corporations. If you could do that. Not me, man. I wouldn't do that kind of shit. I'd rather be in fucking jail.
More's the pity, youngster. More's the pity.
Could you do that kind of shit?
I wish I could.
Yes, end on a happy note. Now, I am Carlos Danger. That is Brian Spears. That was Cardiff Electric and
I have a
OJ.
question for you.
Yes.
I was listening to the Eric Nagel podcast today from last night. Released today on Spotify and everywhere, and iHeartRadio. And anyway, they were talking about a movie on Netflix, Triple R. Have you heard of this movie?
No.
It's a Bollywood movie that's on Netflix. But I have to say, I watched it today, and it was fantastic. It's the most ridiculous action movie I've ever seen in my life, but it is fantastic. So that's the Cardiff. If you have 3 hours to kill and you don't want to watch Avatar, might I suggest Triple R on Netflix?
I will do that. I'll do that right after this. We have one last comment.
If you've ever wanted to see a party being attacked by zoo animals, this is the movie for you.
I was just watching a video on YouTube for some random horror movie where a bunch of pigs eat a woman in a bathtub. It was pretty cool. Read Eddie Bunker's autobiography. Interesting guy. Yeah, Education of a Felon.
I believe that also happened at DabbleCon.
Someone got eaten by a pig. It was in OJ's room.
Yes.
Ooh.
Beloved Shadows, loved one, man. I am too high for this shit. All right, that's it. Do you have any other questions, Cardiff? I want to thank you so much.
I'll wait till you're about to end the show, and then I'll interrupt you again.
All right, so I am Carlos Danger. In the chat was backstabbing dabbler fuckface shithead. Then Obnoxious John, piece of shit.
I appreciate the sentiment.
And Brian Spears.
You got the gist of what I was trying to come across with this.
I have a little, I got to write it down. If I write it down, I'd get it. But
yes. He should just change his name. That would be the right thing to do.
He already left. He's not a movie guy. He's like anti. I would love to know where. Well, no, I want to know more about his background, but I won't ask that. The Wraith. I remember that one. All right, that's it. I'm ending the broadcast. Thank you.
All right, later.